fall off, it's a bet. We can go all night if you let. If you can take it off. Wow, welcome everybody to the Creative Sound Podcast. This is yours truly, Josiah. I'm very excited to be here today to be hosting the very first episode in the very first season of the Creative Sound Podcast. Okay, so first things first, before we dive into things today, let me tell you guys a little bit about myself. My name is Josiah. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I currently reside in Louisville, and I'm a singer, songwriter, actor, slash, you name it. I'm an engineer as well, and I just enjoy making music and being creative and doing the things that really make me happy, and draw others together in the process. I really take pride and joy into doing that. And I'm really excited to be starting this today. I really am, genuinely. I want to jump out of my skin. But yeah, let's get into it. So today is going to be our very first 411. And the 411 is basically going to be an ongoing segment across every episode that presents you with current information that's going on around us. It could be entertainment, political, anything. So, without further ado, let's cue the 411 jingle. Ooh, it's the 411. It's the 411. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Russia versus Ukraine. And I know this is a very extremely sensitive topic for everyone, which is kind of why I wanted to discuss it, because it has really bothered me, seeing everything on both sides, unfold the way it did. It's very disturbing, it's very disturbing, gruesome, and I just pray for everyone involved. I pray for world peace. Whether it happens or not, I just pray that no more lives are lost. I pray that everyone involved heals peacefully. I do not want to see any more violence. I don't want to see any more videos of people dying, getting hurt, any of that. I pray every day, that this situation gets handled diplomatically and responsibly. So that's my viewpoint on Ukraine versus Russia. I'm not here to bash either side. I'm here to offer my condolences and good energy to both parties involved, because let's be honest, the soldiers involved, they do not have a say-so whatsoever in what's going on, regardless of their feelings. Because when you enlist in the military and you take that oath, you're basically handing your life over to the government. It doesn't matter what country it is. The United States, Russia, whatever. You're basically, and it may not be in the same format, for all countries, but in the same breath, you still have to answer to someone whether you agree or not. And I know that the military is not set up to where you can have a laissez-faire and have everybody just sit around and make their own decisions. I get that. I really do understand that, because it wouldn't work. It just would not work. But when you have the vast majority of your fleet protesting or yelling out or showing signs that, hey, maybe this isn't the best idea to napalm this small country, or maybe this isn't the best idea to bum rush this country, you should probably take heed to that, or be required to take heed to that and show some humility. But overall, I think that this entire ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine has opened some people's eyes to the fact that maybe our world leaders don't always know what's best for us. And I think that that's something that we should think about or talk about more as nations moving forward, but that's another story for another day. I just wanted to focus on Russia and Ukraine. I'm praying that everything gets resolved peacefully and no more people are hurt, no more innocent lives are taken. If you are listening to this and you're from one of those countries, just know that I'm standing there with you in spirit. I cannot relate or even speak on any of the events that are happening over there because that's not my place. I'm not there, and I'm reporting this from the comfort of my own home, and that is extremely privileged of me to even speak on something that I can't relate to, and I'm not here to do that. So I'm praying for you guys over there in Russia and Ukraine. This has been our 411, and on to the main topic. Whew. Okay. So this is going to be a lot to unpack today. But since this is the very first episode, I want to do something a little different, because usually the main topic is going to be what the whole episode is kind of centered around, which is something that I want to talk about, whether it's musically related, again, kind of the same format as the 411, but we're going to spend a little more time on it, and it's more in depth and intricate and all that good stuff. But since this is our very first episode, I kind of want to warm any potential listeners into that type of format. And I want to talk about something more personal and dear to me, which is my journey in my past. So you guys can really get a chance to connect with me, whether, you're listening to this now and I only have 5 views, or you're listening to this in the future and I don't know, I have a crazy amount of views on the video, whatever. This is your time to unpack with me, Josiah, your host, and get to know me. Are you ready? Here we go. So I started my singing journey way back in middle school, way back in 7th grade, when you didn't know who you were and you were trying to figure out who you were, and you didn't know what you really liked to do yet. You were still going through those early stages of, hey, let me try a little bit of this, or I don't like that, or let me try that. That's what I was going through. But with music, it was something different. Singing just warmed my heart when I did it. I was scared all the time because I was like, can I really sing? Am I really talented? Or are people just trying to make me feel better? Now, I should have known, because kids in middle school, especially tend to be kind of cruel. So if I was terrible, they would have let me know. Okay. But I've always loved singing. I loved singing in class. Like, we would have these little CPR things in the morning, and I remember I got up there a couple of times and I sung in front of the class, and the teacher really enjoyed it. She was a sub, Miss Mullins. Shout out to her for supporting me at my young age when I was shy. Shout out to her for real. It's dope. And people always pressured me to be in chorus. It wasn't like a bad pressure, it was a good pressure. Like, dude, you in health, you like singing, bro, go to chorus. You gonna learn the notes, you gonna learn all that, and I wanted to. I really did want to, but it was just some of the pressure from, my home life. People were telling me other things. People were telling me chorus is a bunny class. It don't really equate to nothing. You need to stay in health. Stay in health. That seems more like something of one of the lines that you would want to do. Stay there. Don't go. And I was feeling the pressure of the people in my corner supporting me at home, and the people that supported me at school, that rallied behind me and was like, dude, you talented, you should get in chorus, you like singing, you literally sang the whole class period, bruh, go to chorus. But me being me, not wanting to let the adults down in my life, I opted to stay in health. And even my health teacher at the time, she was like, "You're not going nowhere." Like, she did not want to lose me. She really did love me. And I still love her to this day. Shout out to Miss French. And I don't regret staying in health. I loved health. But anyways, that was kind of the end of me singing in middle school. In high school, I did a little bit, but I just never was really that confident in myself. And it showed. It really did show. But when I got to the point where I was singing in front of people, I sung my freshman year. I'll never forget when I was in high school. I sung in front of, these administrators in the office. So I started singing, and they were like, "Dude, come to the men's choir. You come to the men's choir." But long story short, I ended up transferring schools and yada, yada, yada. So that, again, was kind of the end of me in singing. So I've been singing off and on, and my love has always been there. And I've kind of kept it to myself, which was kind of weird. But I loved it. And I always have loved it. So fast forward to my senior year in high school, and I start falling in love with singing again. And I'm, just doing all types of little notes and stuff like that. But I'm still not taking it full throttle. It wasn't until 2017, which was literally the tail end of my senior year into the summer, I started playing around in my GarageBand app on my computer. And I discovered, you can put little effects on your voice, make it sound saucy. I thought I was doing something. And I started playing around in it, and a lot of my friends was like, "Dude, this is actually pretty good. You can really get somewhere if you continue to work and, put stuff out. I can really see you going somewhere." So later that year, my life changed forever because my beautiful grandmother passed away on August 26, 2017. And when she passed away, she was the most religious person I've ever met. She was amazing. And her faith was so strong. Like, I've never met anybody else on this planet that had the amount of faith and wisdom that my grandmother had. She was just the ultimate to me. And when she passed away, it taught me that our time on this earth is very temporary. No matter if you live to be 70, 80, 90, at some point, your time is going to be up. And I realized very quickly that I needed to do what makes me happy. Because if I continue to go down the path that other people want me to go down, I'm never going to be satisfied. And it sounds so cliche. It sounds so silly. Like, dude, you sound like you narrating a paragraph out of a magazine. No, this literally happened to me, and it can happen to anyone. No matter how level-headed you think you are, it can happen to you. And I realized that right then and there. And when my grandmother passed, it challenged my faith a lot, because I was just like, why? But it still does bother me. I still think about her. I've never forgotten about her, and I never will, but I always use her as, the inspiration for me to do my music, because she lived a wonderful life, and she gave to so many people, and she left a legacy. And I realized that if I was just living for somebody else, I wasn't going to have anything to leave, for anybody to remember me by. So the music is also a time capsule. For generations and generations after me, people are going to have my music. Whether they listen to it or whether they like it, it'll be there. You'll be able to hear my voice. So, yeah. So that's the whole reason why I started. It was because of my grandmother and her passing, and it taught me that time is valuable and it is not to be wasted. So moving forward from that, in 2018, I scheduled my first professional studio session with an artist named Braxton. He's an R&B singer and songwriter as well. and he raps. I can't really put a specific definition on Braxton's sound. It's just something that you have to experience for yourself. If you love R&B tunes, or you're feeling hip hoppy one day and you want to turn up, shout out to my man Braxton. Go support him, y'all, and go check him out. His name is BRXTN official on Instagram and across all social platforms. So go check him out. But Braxton took me under his wing. He really did. He showed me some tips, tricks, and hacks around the studio, and he put me, into contact with people that were very beneficial to me, and that really gave me a jump start that I wouldn't have had if I didn't know him. I really, to this day, really thank Braxton for, giving me my jump start into this independent artist world and being that guidance and that, mentor that I never really had in my life. I really appreciated that. But shout out to Braxton. I appreciate that. But moving on from that, after I got established, that's when I started writing more, because I've always loved to write. I've wrote plays before, stuff like that. So writing has always been another hidden passion for me. And I started writing stuff, and it just took off from there. I started singing. I started working with an engineer named David Lee. His name is One Mix God on Instagram and across all social platforms. Please go check him out. But I loved singing, and I loved being an artist. I loved all of that. I loved everything that came with it, but eventually, I moved on and I started putting out more and more music and more content. So I was getting feedback. When you put stuff out to the world, you're gonna get feedback, whether it's good or bad. And that is a right that people have. If you're gonna put your stuff on public display for any and everybody to come in and have a say so, you're gonna get something. So I was getting comments and people, it wasn't till I started those little Funk Flex Master contests. I should have known better because I'm not a rapper, but I submitted my songs to those and people were, saying it was garbage. And I was like, wow, I can take constructive criticism. I'm not one of those people that are like, oh my God, what you mean? My song fire, your song trash, blah, blah, blah. I'm not one of those people. I have very thick skin. I was in theater in high school. My theater teacher, Miss Bowen, always told us, you have to have thick skin in theater. And I feel the same exact way in almost any other portion of life. You have to have thick skin in order to take that constructive criticism and be better. It's not about hating or anything like that, and I know the difference between constructive criticism and disrespect. It's a very fine line, and you have to be careful how you approach it to some people. I will admit that, but I was here for it, and everything that they were saying, I was like, it's trash. Do I need to work on my vocals? What? Okay, cool. So guess what? I took some time off. I took like 8 months off of music, and I worked on my vocals, came back, worked on my sound and my overall image and my brand, and I rebranded myself as Mr. And Mr. is very bittersweet to talk about because I just made the name change last Thursday, but it's worth it. I'm gonna give y'all the scoop. So anyways, for those of you that don't know, I do identify as a homosexual male, and I was in the process of trying to fully understand and grasp who I was. But at that time, I was slightly younger than I am now, because I'm only 23. I'll be 24 this year. I was 19 when I created Mr., and I was 19 when I came out. So Mr. was really more so of a safe place, more like of a sanctuary for me, because Mr. was a figure that I created to allow me to share my art explicitly with the world without labels being attached to me, because I don't really enjoy labels. I don't like when people label people like, oh, she's this, she's that, or he's that. Because labels can be completely subjective sometimes. And I feel like when you're in that mindset and you're at that particular age, you're still kind of coming out of your teens, and you really want to have a say-so in what other people think, when in reality, you don't get a say-so in what they think, and they don't get a say-so in what you think. But me being me, rebellious me, I was like, nah, I'm not going to let them put a label on me, because Mr. isn't even a person. He's a figure. The name is literally a prefix. So I really took advantage of that, and I was releasing some of the most vulnerable music that I've ever released, because when I went by my government name, Kenneth Brown, at the time, before Mr., I was singing about women, and, you know, I tried the sexual pocket. People loved it, but it wasn't me. I didn't feel like I was being genuine, and I had to find the courage in myself to be me and be real and share what's real. You know, my first love was a guy. It wasn't a girl. I had to find the courage within myself to share that with the world, because not everybody in the world agrees with it. And, you know, to each his own. But that's who I was. And that's who I still am. But I'm just not running from it anymore. This is me. Now that I'm a little older, I understand that, you know, labeling, people putting you in different categories and, you know, subgenres, that comes with the territory. People, you know, it's human nature. People are going to find something to compare you to. I just feel like now that it's natural. It's just human nature. It's what we do. It's how we connect. It comes full circle with sharing your art and music, because if you find a dope artist and they remind you of how maybe an artist in the 90s did, you're kind of comparing them to someone from the 90s. Whether it's a good comparison to the artist or not, you're still comparing them, and you're still somewhat putting a label on them and putting them in some type of box, whether it's intentional or not. But being an artist now, being a singer, I know that it comes naturally, and I'm not pressed anymore. So that's why I decided to retire Mr. You know, it was a good run. It meant a lot for me at the time. It really helped me overcome my fear and shame of being homosexual. I'm proud of who I am, and I just can't wait to continue to share my stories and my love with the world. But again, I am very thankful for anybody out there that has supported me on this journey musically, personally, all of that. I appreciate each and every person that has contributed to my life in some way. So that wraps up our main topic for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was my very long main topic about myself. But now we're going to head into our closing. So that summed up the main topic and the main chunk of our podcast. The next episode is going to be very different. However, I wanted to give some insight on who I was as Josiah Nadir and previous stage names that I used to go by, people I used to work with, you know, my passion, my drive, what fuels me. Like I said, what fuels me is using my creativity to connect with other people. I love that feeling. And it doesn't have to be confined to just music. It could be this podcast. It could be me in Photoshop making something for somebody. It could be me writing a short story and posting it to Wattpad or a thread like Reddit. So I hope you guys vibe with it. And I also wanted to add that this channel isn't going to be restricted to just this podcast series. I want to upload movie reviews, eventually reaction videos. I might make a separate channel for that. I'm not too sure yet because I'm still getting my feet wet with YouTube and, how things work, copyright, all of that good stuff. And for now, this series is going to remain pre-recorded. And when I say that, it's not going to be live, but when I get the right tools and I get the gist of everything, this show may become a live show with special guests and all of that great stuff. But for now, we're going to keep it simple, and you guys can enjoy this while you're cleaning, doing whatever you need to do. But that wraps up everything for today. And thank you so much for tuning in to the Creative Sound Podcast. Have a good day.